Hello and welcome to Career Center. I'm Kim White, Executive Director of the Career and Networking Center, a resource center located in Naperville focused on providing career and professional development support to millennials, more seasoned workers like me, and everyone in between. Joining me today is Debbie Moran to share her journey, career tips, and lessons learned along the way. Debbie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to see you. I know that you are one of our success stories, so I would love for you to share that as we talk about your journey. So let's start with it. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and let's start talking about your career journey.
Sure. Well, throughout the years, especially once I became a mom, I didn't work for a while. I just had a couple part-time jobs. But once they got a little bit older, I finally landed a job and advanced my career into a stage where I became a territory manager, managing like 20 locations, 125 staff, you know, big job, full-time, more than full-time, but loved it. And I was with the company for 11 years. And it was almost a year ago that I was on a video Zoom call with my boss, and HR popped on, and I thought, this isn't good. And it just wasn't the right fit anymore, and I was devastated. I thought, I didn't know what to do. I had never been in this situation before. But luckily, approximately 10, 15 years ago, I don't remember when it was, a friend of mine casually mentioned to me that she volunteered at the Career and Networking Center. And luckily I filed that back in my memory somewhere. And that was one of the first things I did. I received, you know, severance and job outplacement and all that. But I can tell you, you know, the services that I got with the outplacement company didn't compare to what I received at the Career Networking Center. And I jumped in right away. I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. And I thought, I need to find another job right now. And I jumped right into you guys right away and started my journey with that job search, which is a journey.
It's a job. It's a job on its own.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, before we talk about that, I just want to go back to something you said, that when you took some time off to raise your kids. Do you think it would be hard for you to get back into the corporate job?
Well, to be honest, I didn't think I ever wanted to do it. It wasn't something that I had ever envisioned doing, but as I started progressing through the career with the company that I was with, I became more excited about it and more interested in working in the corporate world. So it's just kind of a natural progression, but it was something that I started out part-time and then just gradually got into that full-time.
You know, that's advice we give folks who are returning to the workforce all the time. You know, start out gradually. Maybe is it a career or a job you're looking for, and you start out in a part-time role and kind of grow into that if you have the opportunity to do that, right? Because your family's used to you being home, and then all of a sudden it's like, we need you home. What are you doing going to work every day? So, and so you got back into corporate America, and then you were on the video call with your boss, and that happened. And you know, then you sought out resources. You didn't wait. You jumped right in, which is so important for people to do.
You know, my husband was great in, you know, said take your time, but I'm just not that kind of person. I don't have patience. And so I thought, no, I need to start this right now because I don't know what's out there. I hadn't been in this situation, you know, in a long, long time looking for a job. So I thought I needed to dive in right away.
I think oftentimes when people wait, you know, you don't know how long it's going to take. And so if you take a couple months off at the front end, it might not pay off for you, you know, later. So you want to jump right in there. So let's talk about the job search journey, because like you said, that is a full-time job. And so you came in and you took advantage of the resources and really got yourself, you know, mock interviews. I saw you were in there all the time, very diligent in your job search, and connected with, you know, the accountability groups and workshops. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was a full-time job. I would spend at least half my time, you know, online, on LinkedIn, looking at job postings and whatnot. But where I got my real value was at the Career Center, networking with people and visiting with the different coaches. You know, I would have one-on-one coachings with with as many people as I could sign
Yeah.
myself up with,
Yeah.
just to try to explore, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
My previous job was one where it was almost like 2 jobs in one, where I was a manager of the business, but I was also coaching and training the staff. And so try to figure out what job is out there that would be similar to that. So that was my biggest struggle, was just trying to figure out, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Yeah.
And so by talking to the different coaches there at the center really helped me try to figure out what direction I wanted to go into. So I dived into, I belonged to the accountability group, I belonged to the women's lean in group, I would go to the job clubs and as many networking events as I possibly could, just to get that knowledge and be with other people that were in the same situation.
Which is important as well. Because it's important to do that networking, and because you don't know who's going to be that person that might connect you with that hiring manager that might offer you that job. Now, you also participated in the workshops, because I know there's a number of workshops as well. Let's talk a little bit about the accountability group. Did you feel like you really needed that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, again, it's one of these things where, as we said, it's a full-time job. So you're sitting at home, you're looking at that computer, you're going through the job boards and everything, and it's really easy to get down on yourself and think, oh gosh, there's laundry waiting for me, or it's time to cook dinner. And so that accountability group really gave me weekly goals versus just that long-term goal.
Yeah.
So the accountability group was, to me, very, very, very helpful, because I would say, okay, I'm going to do 2 coffees next week, and my job coach would say, all right, Deb, so you're going to do 4, and he would push me to that next level, which really helped
And
a
if
lot.
you didn't do it, you had to tell your group that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the appointments with the coaches. So I know you took advantage of resumes and how to network and
LinkedIn.
and how critical were those to your job search?
Huge, because I had been on LinkedIn, but not really on LinkedIn. So sitting down, one-on-one with someone that's a pro at LinkedIn really helped me build my LinkedIn profile. And again, the ones that were really, really important to me were the ones that helped me kind of look inside myself to try to figure out, what do I want to do? And I laugh because I go back to my very first intake appointment. I don't remember who I was with, but she was fabulous. And she said, you're going to be in sales. And I was like, no. And here I am now in sales. But it's just kind of funny. You don't really know until you dive into some of these things and really explore what you want and what interests you and what is out there to really decide. Especially me in being in that situation where I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right. You just didn't know. And so was it a huge change from your job that you were doing before this new role, which we'll talk about after the break?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I had been in sales before, but quite some time ago.
Yeah.
So I didn't think I wanted to be in sales again, but that relationship building is what really intrigued me the most, and it was somebody getting that out of me that helped me figure that out.
Well, we are going to hear that story when we come back, right after the break. We'll be right back.
In Naperville, we know that community counts. In fact, it's in our name. As Naperville Community Television, we have the privilege of showcasing what makes this award-winning city a wonderful place to raise a family, to make a living, and to enjoy life's journey. That's why it's our mission to capture on camera those special moments that connect us. Those stories that impact our lives, stories you won't see anywhere else. So watch Naperville Community Television on air, online, and on social media.
Welcome back to Career Center. I am Kim White, back with Debbie Moran. Debbie, thanks for staying with us.
Thank you.
All right, so before we talk about your new role, I want to just have you share with our audience some things you did that were out of the box. I know you did some things that were outside the box. So
and I got some encouragement from one of the coaches at the Career Center. And we were sitting down one day and we were just brainstorming, what could you do that's not already in front of you? And I was encouraged to try Facebook. So
were you on Facebook before?
I was on Facebook, but actually putting this out on Facebook. And I happened to, I belong to my neighborhood Facebook page, and I was encouraged to do that. So I thought, okay, what have I got to lose? So sure enough, I put it out there and I put a link to my LinkedIn profile. I said, this is what I'm looking for. And I'll be darned if someone in my neighborhood wasn't in HR at a company that I was interested in. And sure enough, I ended up with an interview. I didn't get the job, which is totally okay.
Yeah, but you got an interview.
But I got an interview, which was the whole point. So had I not done that, I never would have gotten that. So that was one thing that was a little bit outside of the box for me.
Yeah.
And then another thing was I'd been going to all these networking events with people just like me in transition, which is fabulous because you just never know who knows who, right? But one day I thought, I need to get myself in front of people that actually have jobs. So I just Googled networking events in Naperville, and I found some networking events where people get together to give themselves referrals. And I called them up and I said, hey, would you ever give somebody like me an opportunity to come and hand out my business cards? And they said, sure, absolutely, come on in. So I just lucked out. It happened to be their membership extravaganza day, and so everybody had guests with them, and we all got to get up and give our 60-second elevator pitch. I was the only one in transition.
Okay.
And sure enough, there was
spotlight was
there.
on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was somebody there that happens to work for the company that I now work for. So it just really...
I have chills. I remember you telling me this story before, but I just have chills.
So, so again, it was just thinking about how can you get myself in front of people that have jobs.
Yeah. Well, that's important to do. And I think, what you did with Facebook was pretty amazing, especially in your neighborhood, right? So now you are talking to people who you live near, and they want to help. People really do want to help.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was one thing that I was amazed during this journey, that how many people really do want to help you, even those that are also in transition. Everybody wants to help. Yeah. And I was overwhelmed by that.
Well, I know too that you're going around and you're sharing your journey with other job seekers, because it's really important to do so. What other, besides CNC, what other support system did you have while you were going through
I was very, very fortunate, and I know this. My family was phenomenal. My husband never once said, what are you doing now? How many places have you applied to? He was my biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter, and I know I'm very, very fortunate for that, as well as my two girls. They're both in college, so it was kind of a scary time knowing that I was going to have two, upcoming in college. But again, they were my big cheerleaders too. They never once questioned or complained if money was tight or anything like that. So I was very, very fortunate, as well as my friends. My friends were always there, to support me and ask me how things were going, and I was lucky. I really was.
So really, and again, we talk about this at the center. It's really important to let others know you're on a search. Family, friends, your neighbors, because you just don't know who's going to be able to help you, and people really do want to help. So that's great advice. So let's talk about your new role and how you're doing, and how was the onboarding experience too, if you want to talk about that.
Well, ironically, as I mentioned, I am now in sales, which I didn't think I was going to go back into, but I am. But that person that I met at that networking event happened to work for a company called the Salem Group, which ironically is a staffing firm. So long story short, I had multiple interviews and connected with several people within the company. And so now I'm helping place extraordinary people with extraordinary organizations, and even get to help more by helping people that need a job. So very exciting. It's a great company. It's a new industry for me. I had no idea that staffing was as big as it is. But I fell in love with the company, and I just think it's rather ironic that here I was in transition, and now I landed in a role where I'm actually helping place people. So I love it.
And so it was a place that you thought you would be, but it's about skills. So you transition those skills. Talk about that.
Right. Well, it's kind of funny. My boss always tells me, Debbie, you were in staffing when I managed 125 people, and I never thought of it that way. But it is a lot of the hiring and the interviewing and the whole process. But what sales is all about is relationship building, which is my favorite part. The best part of my job is being out there in the public, talking to people, talking to companies, talking to candidates, and that relationship building, which is something I've always done in all of my different jobs that I've had throughout the years. So just never thought of it in a sales aspect. Right.
Well, and when we have those when you talk to a coach about career exploration and all that, and they really focus a lot on transitioning skills into a new role, this is a great example of that.
Exactly. And, opening my mind to a new opportunity to a company that I didn't know anything about. I had X, amount of companies on my list that I thought I wanted to work for, but thinking outside that box and finding those opportunities that are out there waiting for you.
And this was not a company that at all was on your radar?
No, not at all. But it was just, I think the stars were aligned, and I met that person for a reason, and I'm thrilled to be where I am.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, I'd like to talk just real quick about mentor. Did you have a mentor, someone that you've been able to touch base with and connect with and kind of give you some guidance along the way?
I can't specifically think of one mentor, but what was really helpful to me was there was other people that were laid off at the same time as myself, and so we kind of mentored each other in the process because, again, we were all kind of blindsided by it. So we helped each other and shared tips and tricks and just gave each other the support, so that was really helpful.
Well, it's always good to see you, Debbie.
Good to see you, too.
Thank you so much for joining me on this month's edition of Career Center. Up next, Career Tips in 5. Ciao.
We're proud to call Naperville our hometown, where you can enjoy simple pleasures, such as a stroll along the Riverwalk or the excitement of a Friday night football game. It's where families can raise their children and plant their roots for generations to come. And so we're proud to be the city's nonprofit television station, keeping residents connected and informed through video storytelling on air and online. We ask that you continue to watch and share the stories about this wonderful town we call home.
Welcome back to Career Center. I'm Kim White, Executive Director of the Career and Networking Center. And joining me now for this month's Career Tips in 5 is Nicole Lamb with Lane Marketing. Nicole, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, Nicole, you talk about it's you. What could get you the job and what could cost you the job.
Yeah.
Right? So there's 5 things that you speak about. Number 1, be genuine.
Yeah, this is really important. Everybody can see and sense when you're overcompensating and you think you need to bring some other energy to the interview. Just bring yourself.
Yeah.
Be genuine. It'll come across in the right way.
Share appropriately, number 2.
Yeah, this one's tough because you have to share enough. It's a tough balance. You need to share enough that we can actually see who you are, but not overshare so that there's red flags. So I always say, if you can't share it with your grandmother, you probably shouldn't bring it up in an interview.
Yeah. Very good advice, I might add. Number 3, show confidence. This is really important.
Yeah, so how you come into the room, who you are, how you shake a hand, these are all very important things. If you don't have confidence in yourself, I always ask, why should I?
Number 4, prepare for the commonly asked questions.
Yeah, this is a tough one. To see somebody struggle and start to stall on some of the questions that are just a given in an interview is really, really hard. It's uncomfortable for the whole room.
Yeah.
So this is part of doing your homework, making sure that you're, answering those easy questions of what are your challenges and what are your weaknesses and what are you really good at.
Yeah.
Those are some key ones. Let's make sure we have answers to them.
Yeah, they should those answers should just roll right off.
You bet.
Absolutely.
You bet.
And number 5, I love this, body language is key.
Yep. So I always talk about, wearing things that build confidence, sitting up in your chair, how you present yourself, but don't wear something that's going to make you fidget. You'll see sometimes where somebody will wear something that just doesn't feel right, and you can tell the whole time in the interview that they're not comfortable. So, and then I always say, wear something that really brings some confidence. A good shoe can go a long way. I got my power shoes on today.
I love it.
Bright red, and it definitely brings some confidence and a pep in the step.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Nicole, for sharing Career Tips in 5.
Thanks, Kim.
If you're looking for career or professional development support, visit the Career and Networking Center at 1815 West Dill Road, Suite 900 in Naperville, or search us on the web at careernetworkingcenter.org. Thanks so much for watching.